Hi, hello, my name's Devaraj. Before I got into therapy and working on myself, I spent a little bit of time reading esoteric stuff, Kabbalah and Gnostic stuff, and, the kind of esoteric versions of the Bible, Alchemy. And something that is a common concept in those traditions, also spoken about a bit by Carl Jung and things like this, is the ideas that, like, shit or the worst thing is basically the most valuable. This is a kind of recurrent theme in these kind of texts, and it's seen in there's a famous quote from Carl Jung about the thing that you're most avoiding is the thing that can most is what you most need. In some alchemical text, he quotes something, in filth you will find your meaning, something like this. Another famous quote from the Book of Psalms, used in alchemy a lot, is the stone the builders rejected becomes the cornerstone or becomes the coping stone. And, a psychological metaphor for this usually is that, the things that we're most avoiding are the things that can liberate us. We're on this journey as an ego in this mind, and often how the journey starts is, repressing a lot of stuff we don't want to feel, a lot of bad situations from our past, trying to be a certain kind of person. This is kind of the beginning of the journey, You're going out there and we want to be loving, we want to be good, we want to be successful, we want to be powerful. Nothing wrong with any of that, but how we go about getting that is to try and keep on pushing an image out of being a certain kind of person. And in order to keep pushing this good image out, we repress a lot of other stuff. And of course, at some point maybe, in fact, if we're lucky, we have some crisis in this or a gradual realization that it's not really working. And we start to investigate what is it that we're holding down. And, so this is how I see it tying in. The stone the builder rejected. This building of a self-image from the prefrontal cortex, constructing a great self-image and then, yeah, that's me, and trying to put it out there, rejecting, the dark, the shit, the stuff that's held in the bottom of the psyche, repressed emotions, all shoveled back into the body. The stone the builder rejected becomes the coping stone. And, the underlying direction, if you like, from this is that you will get the most development when you go into the shit that you're holding inside, the stuff that you're avoiding. When you go into the place where you're avoiding going the most from your egoic mind, you will get the most development, the most resolution, the most integration, the most grounding, the most development, basically. And, this is where bioenergetics comes in a bit, because it is very admirable to simply make a statement like, okay, I want to look now. I want to look, where's the shit, ask maybe for feedback from other people, what do you see about me, what do you like, what do you don't like. There's workshops, there's whole therapeutic schools, encounter therapy, grew up in the 60s and 70s, based around this idea, getting reflections from other people, wanting to self-investigate, hey, I need a mirror, I can't see myself so easily. And it's great when we develop the attitude that we want to look. But also, of course, there's been decades of repression. And it's not as simple as just saying, hey, I want to look now. Yeah, that's a great start. But ideally, of course, what you want is something where you can actually bring the shit up and bring it up to the surface. And this is where a discipline like bioenergetics really comes in. Because you're using body movement and breath and feeling to open the body. And what is stored in these places we're opening is mostly the stuff we don't want to feel or know. And in fact, it's a little bit of it's almost a cheat in some ways, because if I create an image of, like, really facing the dark stuff, it's like, okay, I'm going to have to face some sort of, 18 stone football hooligan or something or whatever, and really go into dark places inside my life, where I've really felt fucked up and upset and unworthy, suicidal, whatever. But actually with bioenergetics, you don't always have to really relive everything that fucked up that happened to you. It's more like you open these areas of the body up And yeah, maybe you get memories and reflections of the past. Maybe you find yourself in emotions that you've been suppressing, but it feels kind of light usually. Not always, but usually it feels it's not as heavy as we think. Because this is also part of how the mind keeps us a bit caught in this kind of prison of trying to be a certain kind of person. But the concern is, well, if I really look, what's going on inside, fucking hell, that's some heavy shit there. But my experience is working with bioenergetics, it's not so bad. It's not so bad. There'll be times when you maybe need some extra support, times when you need some feedback and some guidance and some help, but essentially it's not so bad as we think. So hopefully, this ties a few things in together. This idea, the stone the builders rejected becomes the coping stone. In the shit, you find, what you most need. There's very useful images in today's society, because mostly we're being told, to avoid the shit. You don't want the shit to happen to you, so you need to buy this, and it's actually, it's okay. It's good for that information. It's out there in a way. I was listening to Russell Brand the other day interviewing some guy anyway, and he was constantly kind of wanting to blame someone. I felt a little bit, that there's these, and we all do it, it's not like I'm so much better. Sometimes I try and catch myself, but it's easy to blame consumer society for endlessly trying to sell us things. But we're in an environment, in a world that is activating us constantly, and it's up to us to choose. If you keep saying it's consumer society that's making it all bad for me, it's always trying to sell me things and it's destroying the planet, you make yourself a victim. It's up to you to go deeper, because that's what the world is really about. And that's what I also learned, like, mentally from Kabbalah, from Alchemy, from these kind of mystical traditions. I learned these things mentally, that you're immersed in this environment. It's full of signals and stimuli all over the place. And actually, the journey of the hero, which is your journey basically, is to go through that and to get the support you need and to keep on moving deeper inside. Takes you up in awareness, and to drop the blame, to drop the rejection, to drop the self-rejection, essentially, the giving up, I can't make it, I'll just settle for second best. But to just keep on moving step by step. And this is like, it's a common journey. And so, with bioenergetics, I'll also be doing like a kind of a map soon, a little bit tying it also in with Osho, which was the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh, who was the main guy that I got into really for some years after he'd passed away. But in terms of support and inspirational guidance, he was the main guy. And I'll be giving a map soon out. Quite a simple kind of map, really. I don't like complicated stuff. And which is very, very useful, I found. But what you can take away is like, keep looking at the shit. It doesn't mean you have to sit over the toilet staring at it, but don't be too phobic. But keep looking there. What am I afraid of? And keep opening the body, keeping open to life. And I try and catch myself when I'm going into judgments, when I'm going into blame. When I'm trying to make, my mind does it. When I catch myself, I'm starting to blame that person, I'm starting to blame that aspect of society and saying it should change, it should be different. And I catch myself. And you can do the same. And doing these bioenergetic exercises that I'm giving out on this channel helps, because as we start to take more responsibility, inevitably, we feel more feelings come up, and you need something to process that. And the bio helps. Okay, I think that's about it. Have I tied it all in? I'm not quite sure. But I'm grateful, for my time studying esoteric texts. And I'm happy also I could move into, core practices and real therapy. Really being honest, not going off on too much of a kind of Jungian mind trip somewhere or whatever. But actually saying, hey, this is me and this is what I'm busy with. Okay, over and out. Bye for now.